How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 14 Chapter 4. This is Season 14 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 4. In this episode we will be talking about a few manifestation techniques. As discussed in previous episodes, the creation of archetypes and narrative promotes the assumption of these narratives and archetypes by system members. That is to say, nature abhors a vacuum. Thus, the creativity necessary to manufacture narrative and archetypal forms promotes their assumption by group members. Since it follows that narrative has the power to recapitulate itself in the substrate of our experience, it also follows that narrative can be artificially used, consciously used, to change the outcome of what would typically be understood to be events heavily afflicted by chance. In other words, one important technique in manifesting a particular event or occurrence involves the production of narrative further to that desire or impulse. How does this work practically? Imagine that you are on a sporting team and you're about a day away from the championship game. Now, what if, as part of the preparation for that game, you were to write a personal, autobiographical story, featuring yourself as a main character? Now imagine that in this story you carefully craft a narrative which ends in your team's victory. I call this practice life writing. It involves the intentional visualization of an outcome which would seem to normally be outside our direct control for the purposes of manifesting it as an outcome. But life writing doesn't begin and end with writing. Any medium can be used to produce such a work. If you are a painter, then paint. A photographer, take pictures that tell a story of victory. Now, even more effective, you could write a script which describes your victory. In advance of the game, you could take on roles and act it out. Now, let's say you wanted to ensure better cooperation between teammates in advance of the game. How would you go about doing that? Typically, team-building activities would be used, but instead what I am suggesting is that you ask your teammates what their favorite interests are, movies, books, etc., and once you have discovered this, place an anchor for these things somewhere in your room or home, in the background. This would have the effect of deepening the gateways that link the team together, improving cooperation. Another technique to improve gateways would be to synchronize your consumption patterns, meal patterns. Eat the same meals or eat at the same times of day. Listen to the same music. Wear the same color of tie. There are myriad ways to unify your minds in advance of the game, which detract in only minor ways from your autonomy. Imagine that you are simply looking for that special someone in your life. Life writing, the same technique can be used. Write a story which creates an archetype and fill it with all the qualities that you desire in a mate. Then write a story of your first date. The great thing about these techniques is that you don't have to be a great writer. You simply have to go through the process of visualization and creation. You don't even need a reader of the story. You can delete it the moment it is complete. But the more you share it with, the more effective will be the manifestation. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.